Brian Kilmeade, co-host of Fox and Friends, host of One Nation with Brian Kilmeade, and the Brian Kilmeade radio show, and his great book, The President and the Freedom Fighter. Brian, I just thought Sarah, who's a dear friend of mine, I make no bones about it, nonetheless, she stole the show last night with straight talk and facts and good storytelling ability. What do you think?
2 in a row. Tim Scott 2 years ago.
Oh, right.
And then here comes Sarah Huckabee Sanders again. Prior to that, Bobby Jindal, an up-and-coming star, did not look relaxed. Marco Rubio reaching for water, although I'm still very impressed with what Marco Rubio brings to the table. But I thought the speech was good. It was in great contrast with great confidence. She did two things. She brought up her years in the White House, brought up her age, which is a positive, brought up her new position, but also what she experienced. So you got a little what Trump was like, the reality of what the economy was like, what it was like visiting the troops. President Biden never brought up the troops. Right. He never brought up anything that we're doing. Even didn't bring up the one thing you would think that he would want to about the Ukraine, even though I feel his slow walking of weapons is getting people killed. And has over the last year, and the fact that he barely brought it up. So she brought it up. This was like visiting the troops. This was mean during our economy. And it must be maddening to you especially to hear your economy being mischaracterized so precipitously when he says, I had a crashing economy. This whole thing was falling apart. When the vaccine was rolling out, things had turned around, people were going back to work, and everything was beginning to roll. He took over. He should just take pride or explain what he did when he got the job, not rewrite what the economy was like when he got the job.
He has to rewrite it because, as Sarah said, as I've said dozens and dozens of times on this show, he was given a very strong economy.
Coming back.
Post-COVID, coming back with a very, very low inflation rate. The table was set for prosperity, and Biden took it and basically tore it apart. With high inflation and low growth. And by the way, the low growth is not over, and the high inflation is not over. So I will just say I'm used to it. But I've said a million times, Biden is incapable of telling the truth about the economy. And people know that. You know, my point, Brian, about take-home pay, real wages, purchasing power for middle-income folks, blue-collar folks, lower middle-income folks, is killing them. So they know that, see it and feel it and touch it, right? So they don't believe a word Biden says. And that's been the underbelly of his entire presidency.
Right. I thought two things just to leave on Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Yep.
She talked about a new generation of leadership like Nikki Haley.
Yep.
Also talked about where we were with Donald Trump. The fact that Kevin McCarthy picked Sarah Huckabee Sanders so closely aligned with Donald Trump shows he's not running for the Trump legacy.
Mitch
McConnell picked her?
Yes.
So the fact that Mitch McConnell, picking
right.
that, didn't say, hey, I'm looking to turn the page on the Trump era because she's so closely associated. The Huckabees and Trumps are very good friends across the board. You would know that better than anybody. Number two, there's a couple of things that just drove me nuts. Number one, I don't like vilifying successful people.
Yes.
And the fact is, when you break down the top 10% of the country pay 70% of all the taxes in the country. The top 1% pays 43%.
That's right.
The top 5% pays 60%. And yet he's going to target them?
Yes.
They are literally outworking everybody. I want those people to buy more buildings, more lots. I want them to grow their businesses, take more chances. Start new businesses.
Hire more people.
Now, Republicans should watch themselves because most of those rich people, for some reason, seem to be supporting Democrats. So they should say, economically, the model should be, why are you taking success and saying they're the problem? And then he comes out with this ridiculous statement saying oil and gas companies are making windfall profits, and it's time for us to tax that. I asked them to pump more, and they say, well, we're concerned about you getting rid of oil and gas. They said, well, you could still do it for 10 more years. That actually had people laughing because it's so farcical.
Should put that in, right, for 10 more years.
10 more, and by the way, I don't think that was in the prompter. I think he made that up, but he probably thinks that. And AOC would stand up and cheer that. She can't get jeans. She's not going to be able to get an iPhone. She's not going to be able to fill up a car or go on an airplane. But good luck with that.
What? Just the last one. Your thoughts about the meaning, the inner meaning, the subtle inner meaning of the new generation points that Sarah made. She made it relative to Biden. She also had it in about the Republican Party needs a new generation of leaders. What do you make of that?
I think that is going to be an exciting spring, summer, because you got a 78-year-old former president who's still a front runner in most of the polls, taking on the 40-something governor of California subtly, who's not fighting back. Nikki Haley is going to declare on the 15th. Tim Scott is probably 2 weeks or 2 months right after that. Then by the Vice President Mike Pence is somewhere in the middle. So I think by her saluting her time with Trump. She's saying, I got your back. And the other way, she's looking around saying, if it is time to turn the page, Republicans got it handled. The bigger story is what's going on with Kamala Harris and the fact that Democrats are taking aim and the fact that only 34% of the country, Democrats, are enthusiastic about Joe Biden running again. So they got some huge issues over there, although the president's in Wisconsin now, trumpeting that he says, I'm going to prove to you that Republicans want to get rid of Social Security.
Yeah, this is the stupidest blarney hucksterism thing.
There's too many real things going on. He's 82 years old. When's he going to get out of this political game?
The choice is between normal or crazy, okay? I want to end with that. It isn't left or right. It's normal or crazy. Biden has chosen crazy.
Right.
The Democrats have chosen crazy. They will pay for this.
Right.
They will pay for this. I don't know when, but they will. Brian Kilmeade, the best of the best. By the way, you can catch him One Nation Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox News.
And we're heading to the Super Bowl.
Wow, that's right.
Yeah.
By the way, Judy and I were driving up to Connecticut, and we heard your whole show Saturday night.
Was it? So you were forced to stay in a car? Were you in traffic? Was it a good situation?
It was good to know that you were there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.